Hi lovelies, and welcome to the Witch's Cookery. And yes, my 2-year-old was my stylist today, thank you very much. As you might know, over the years I have become quite the expert in throwing magical shenanigans for the holidays on the Witch's Wheel of the Year, and the last 2 weeks were no different. I had my huge Samhain retreat in the south of Germany, and just a weekend after, my Samhain day retreat here in my new Witchy sanctuary, and we tried and tested the most magical ways to celebrate Samhain for you. We'll get some glimpses into our retreat experience and all the tips on how to celebrate Samhain and the magic that can be done this time of year. One thing that I love to do this time of year is that I will actually swap out my beloved coffee for tea. There's magical and medicinal herbs gathered over the summer, not only because they really help you fend off the nasties, even though I still got sick, but because it's also a fantastic way to slow down and become more mindful and direct your energies and visions inwards, just as nature does. We're going in a hibernation period right now, and you don't need a whole selection of teas. Say you have 3 to 5 different herbs that you like for their medicinal purposes, or just because they smell nice, or because of the magic they do. You can sit down in the morning and you take 5 minutes to really inhale the scent of each tea. Feel out, is this speaking to me today? Does the scent make me feel a certain way? Or if you already have an intention in mind, a goal for the day, you can also think about, okay, I know the magical properties of the rose petals or the chamomile or the lavender or the dried orange rind that I have here. So what concoction can I mix together in my little witchy cup in order to support myself better through the day? If it's now a whole mindful tea ceremony or a simple kitchen witch spell, it's just wonderful to brew up some magic. So I also started to rewatch or watch a couple of series like Agatha All Along, Sabrina, Wednesday, all the witchy, spooky stuff. It just speaks to me that time of year, and I know it's like also Halloween coming up and everyone has their witch decoration and ghost decoration and whatnot in the windows, so that probably also kind of triggers it. 'Tis the season of the witch, right? But on a real magic level, that could also mean that you just engage in a bit more ritual this time of year. Personally, I am a secular witch, but on the retreat I got to experience a Wiccan ritual led by one of our fantastic participants, and it was so special to be in that, because that's kind of like what I personally also associate with all these like more television type of witches, because a lot of times they get their inspiration from the more Wiccan rituals. And I found it really lovely, like drawing the circle and then calling in the quarters and drawing down the moon. It just feels proper witchy, and it made my heart sing. So if you're usually someone for very quick, simple spell work, why not use Samhain for a bigger magical shebang to shift something, transform something, call in something, or just experience the magic in your life? And another way to tap more into your witchy powers around that time of year is to obviously also go and meet other witches. And specifically Samhain, Halloween, people, first of all, are a bit more open to the occult, to the supernatural, to the witchy ways. And since it's such a big holiday for a lot of us, a lot more events, workshops, retreats, gatherings are happening anyway. As an expert leader in the witchcraft community who has hosted a fuck ton of retreats and gatherings by now, I've never had a bad experience with meeting other witches. Maybe it's also just the community that I gathered. I don't know if that's in general the case.
It's difficult, as you all know, to find somebody who resonates with you when you walk this path.
So when I signed up for this, I was like, I'm hoping this is going to be different and that connections actually last. And honestly, what we have here blew my mind, because I'm not going out of here simply with friends, I'm going out with family, and this is incredible. So thank you.
Every single time I've come, it's just been incredible and amazing, and I am so blessed and honored to meet new people every time. Each and every one of you has such a special and individual and unique gift to the world.
I thought I came here to start being a witch, but I learned from all of you, no, I'm continuing to be a witch.
I mean, I cannot tell you how powerful I now feel as a witch after this experience. Everybody in this circle has taught me something that I'm going to take with me forever, and I'm so grateful. and I don't want to go home, and I don't want to leave the circle. I want to stay in the circle.
I've never ever experienced anything like this before. Encouraging words and spells and just showing me how I have potential.
But if you're a bit afraid or apprehensive, I would say don't be. Try it out, dip your foot into it and just have a wonderful sound celebration with others, or go on an online workshop. I don't know if you know, but I host them too. For example, I have a lunar living, so a moon magic workshop that will draw over the entire month of November, coming up now at the new moon starting the 2nd of November. So there's still some spaces in there if you want to hop on that very spontaneously and connect deeper to the idea of cyclical living, working magic with the moon, and seeing how deeply transformative it can be for other topics in your life, like how you approach self-care, work-life balance, communication or boundary setting with other people. Witchcraft, and especially lunar witchcraft, is something that you really can apply in any part of your life.
I started the workshops with Bex because I was missing this kind of group and the sisterhood, and the workshops are great and I've grown a lot through them, and I'm so thankful to you, Bex, for creating a space for me to kind of just walk into and make myself at home and build myself there and rebuild myself over and over again.
As the veil lifts and we say the spirits, energies or memories of the souls long past are wandering around, it might also be an excellent time to do a little seance. Classically, you could do the Witchy board or something like that. Scrying, for example, fire scrying, black mirror scrying, water scrying are also great ways to tap more into that. What I have found to be so much fun and actually quite deep is channeling message from spirit through art. We did it at the 7-day retreat and the 5-day retreat, where we spent a really relaxing portion of the afternoon first meditating, inviting in our spirit guides, meeting them in our head, in our mind through hypnotic visualization.
And then we lit the candles. And then I looked at the candle and I immediately saw my brother in the candle. Immediately. But I saw him as his young self.
And then we took symbols, colors, feelings from what we saw, and we just put them on paper. We painted on canvas, and you don't have to be an artist for this at all. In fact, you can even do it with your eyes closed and you just go by feeling. It's very hard to describe because it's very intangible if you've never done it, but I can so recommend it if you have pen and paper or art supplies out there. Try to approach the canvas not from a point of like perfectionism or come in with the idea of, oh, this is what I'm going to paint now, but open up your mind, light a candle, invite in your spirit guides, your ancestors, whatever, whoever you want, and then see what pops in your mind and start your art. Super powerful.
I heard messages and saw messages that I didn't think I would ever have, and it's changed me. It's given me strength and confidence and a purpose for when I return home.
I'm embarking on something I'm really scared, but I have my protectors, and I know I have you all cheering me on.
She had a very like stoic face, but not like no ill will towards like me personally, just like, you know, like there's much work to be done.
While staring and giggling, almost to say like, oh, you wonder what's in here, kind of like giggle.
It's like, why me? Why did I have to have this? Why did I have to have that? You don't, if you didn't have any challenges, you wouldn't learn. We gain a lot of knowledge by going through hardship. So yeah, there has to be balance, because I guess the whole...
You have to not resist in order to survive.
And I'm also very honored that I got to keep some of the canvases for the Naturzauberei here. So they're going to go on the walls with those powerful messages and lovely memories. And now I get to my favorite sound activity. I'm a little outdoor girl, and I don't necessarily mean that in the way I need to camp with the spiders and worms, but more of like, I like to watch what's happening outside throughout the year. And the phenomenon I love most this time of year, October, November, are the mists. And actually the old German word for the month of November is Nebelung, so the month of mist. Nebel meaning mist. When you wake up in the morning, there's this thick white clouds just filling the streets and creeping up from the riverbeds. The evenings get very foggy, so if you walk in the forest, you cannot really see that far. You only see your own steps, or if you walk here in the village, you will see like that ghostly light of the lantern. Oh, I love it so much. And for me, the mist also represents type of the veil between the worlds. It always feels like there is something intangible behind the mist, and it can be somewhat unnerving. It can also be very beautiful. And on those misty walks, I usually do one of two things. The first one is either to remember all the old childhood fairy tale stories, especially about the Nebelfrau or the Weiße Frau or the Nebelmann. So these are all like mist spirits that would lure you into the mists and make you get lost. Or especially if the lady would appear, it would be like a very bad omen, like something was about to happen. And then if I have spooked myself out enough, and I have to shift my focus on something else, so I don't run like an idiot through the village, I like to meditate on the meaning of the mist for me personally. Where in my life do I feel like I can't quite grasp a concept, a person, an idea? Where do I feel like there's still a lot of mystery to be revealed? Or am I okay with some mysteries of life not being revealed at all? Meditate on the nature phenomenon in itself, and it brings you as a powerful witch so much closer to nature, and at the same time so much closer to yourself. I also like to call the season spooky season, just because the mists in the morning and the dark forests where I live are very inviting, but also we already have a lot of the darkness taking over a big majority of the mornings and evenings. So I personally really like to connect to the ancestors of the land. The ancestors of the land are the people that have lived in the area where you live in and shaped the culture, traditions, food and stories, and specifically stories. And I mean, I am in Germany, so our fairy tales are fucking dark. There's a lot of stories about nature spirits, and there's nothing more cozy than to sit down with a single flickering candle in the evenings at the dark window, looking out where the mists are creeping in, and then reading your spooky little local ghost stories. At the retreat, we went on our little forest walk, and I told the people all about the Nebelmann, the Nebelfrau, the Wurzen, so the little troll or dwarf-like figures that live in the forests here, and if you enter with bad intention, they would lead you astray and you will never find out, because we have pretty thick and widespread forests here. People still occasionally do get lost in them, especially children, thanks to our shitty Wi-Fi signal everywhere. You would think we're a developed country, but learning about the ancestral stories and lore in your region also teaches you more about the old beliefs of the people and how they thought the world was put together, and how they kind of made sense of things they could not explain yet because they didn't have the scientific knowledge. And if you already venture out, I absolutely want to implore you to gather the last harvest. Samhain is the third and last of the harvest festivals. It's called the Harvest of the Nuts because here the last item that now is available in abundance are hazelnuts, walnuts and all that jazz. Personally, I love especially October, November to go out in the forest because there's no snow yet, and gather everything I can find on the forest floor to make really cool free witchcraft supplies with. If that is now a magpie oracle, if it's new rune sticks that I'm gonna encarve, if it's a natural pendulum, or just a really nice altar decoration. Do it as the squirrels do, pack a little bag and then into the forest you go, don't get lost. And you know what you can do with all those gathered materials, which is also really fun? You can make a nature mandala. It's just a very creative way to kind of like build an outside offering or an outside altar. And if you incorporate things like acorns, little nuts, you could leave it in your garden as a way to feed the wildlife. But you can also see it more as a symbolic representation. At a retreat we made one that we sectioned into 5 quarters. One quarter symbolized decay and death, so basically the time of year that we're in now. One quarter symbolized the rest and recharge, so the winter when everything is under a blanket of snow. One quarter was the seeds underneath the soil, the little plants starting to germinate. One quarter was growth and nurturing. Quarter. There were obviously not quarters if there were more than 4. Okay, one section. And one section was blossoming, full life abundance. Summer period, if you want to see it on the wheel of the year. And we ask ourselves, in which energy am I standing right now at this point in my life? Have I maybe been too long in a phase of planting and setting intentions, but I never got into that growth phase and actually made something happening, so I get stuck in my planning, right? Or do I feel the past few months have only been growth and growth and growth, and it gets overwhelming, and I just want to get to a point where I can feel the gratitude and the happiness for what I actually have? Or is it just death and decay and things kind of like falling apart for me and disappearing, that kind of leaves me in a state of sadness, or maybe that feeling of scarcity or lack? Another idea, especially for Samhain, would be to look into the energies of death and decay and how you feel about that, because obviously death and decay might sound very negative first, but there's also a lot of necessity in it, because without death and decay of something that does not longer serve or that does not longer fit, without letting something go first, we are never making space, first of all, for the rest and for the tranquility, but also not for new growth. And that's why I'm so big into seasonal living and living with the seasonal energies as well. You hear me talk about this all the time. And by the way, for 2025, I have a huge project starting. A huge project that will be available online, but it's kind of like a group thing, but also kind of like an online thing. But it basically teaches you for the entire year of 2025 to live with the seasons as well. I will not say too much now. You can already check it out on the website if you like, but I'll tell you more about it in an upcoming video, because it really deserves the time and explanation, because it's such a cool tool. So while you craft that mandala, you can think about those seasonal energies and how you can embrace them more, or how you can kind of like move yourself further into what comes next, so the wintering and resting period with that specific topic that is happening for you.
Last year I got a very different energy and I think that maybe that was just like the start of this year's cycle, and this retreat kind of ended it on a more positive note. I did come here just generally tired because of how busy life can be, but I feel like I finally got the respite I was looking for. There were some people here that, you know, would randomly just like hold my hand or give me a hug and kiss, and it was very nice. I feel like last year was more I was in need of help, and I feel this year I was able to kind of give it to others in need. But I also encourage everyone to embrace their dark side. It doesn't make you a bad person or a scary or evil person. I think it's just, you know, there cannot be dark without light. There cannot be light without dark.
Process of making that commitment to come here kicked off and enabled me to do a lot of that shadow work that needed to be done.
I guess in the background I was kind of hoping that I would see him again, or feel him again, and he was there on the bench, so it just validated everything that I've been feeling all these years, and that he has always been there.
I'm not gonna cry. It's hard when you, as you all know, when you're used to taking on everybody's emotions and helping everybody, and then when you actually dump, it does feel like a dump. So thank you for holding that space, every single one of you. It's really needed. Sorry. And I reconnected with family here. I appreciate that.
Now when you see all of that and hear all of that, I know there are some of you out there that just feel their heart opening up, and they're like, oh, I wish I had some witch friends, or could go to a group like that and celebrate with like-minded people, dive deeper into my own shadows, grow by spiritual practice. And you can. You're absolutely invited. There are 6 retreats coming up next year, 3 in Germany, 3 in the States, even though the places are already very limited because a lot of people already have booked, but I'll leave you the links so you can check them out. I have 2 sound retreats even, or if 5 days is too much or seems too costly or too much of a commitment, then you can dip your feet into the water on a day retreat here. I have one coming up for Jule in the Rauhnächte, one for Imburg. I put them on my website as well, so you can all check it out there. Gathering around the fire. Fire is obviously a big part of any Samhain celebration. It is another fire festival. Fire was believed to be not only purifying, so actually be able to repel anything evil, anything unhealthy, any sickness that you might get into, you know, going into winter. Definitely did not help for me. Actually, I think the long evenings around the fire is what kind of got me sick, but you know. What fire definitely is, it's uniting, it's lovely to gather with people around it, tell Samhain stories, tell spooky stories. And before now the winter really comes, this might be one of the last chances that you actually get to be outside and not completely freeze. And we were there under the full moon in Aries, and we said docking powerful intentions, seeing that the full moon in Aries also asks for like that self-actualization and stepping into your own power and kind of like the conflicts that you might have within yourself. And we burned versions of our old selves that needed to go, or of just representations of topics that needed to go for us. And not only did we do that, but with the fire we also honored our ancestors of bloodline and spirit, because fire also represents life. And if you gather around a fire, you have really the opportunity to be cozy and just like quietly chat with other people. So you can, for example, light a remembrance candle and then tell the story of, I don't know, your grandma, your grandpa, your pet that has passed away, it doesn't matter. Someone, a loved one that has departed into the unknown, and kind of revive them for the night. And another great way to do that and work with this ancestor energies is to host a dumb supper. Very classic Samhain activity. So what is a dumb supper? It's an old tradition, and again, we don't only see it in the island Celtic customs, we see it all over Europe and also outside Europe. Let's go with Mexico again, with the ofrendas, with the bringing food to home altars, to graves. We have that in Asia too, Festival of the Ghosts, where you would set out food for people that have already passed. So when their spirit would wander on certain days, like on Samhain, it would find food ready for them to be enjoyed and also to appease them in some ways. How we hosted our dumb supper was to invite in the spirit of an ancestor. And then for the first 10 minutes, we really enjoyed the meal in silence, sitting with our own memories, having that conversation with them in our head. And then afterwards, we opened up conversation. And this for me always feels so incredibly special. And you can just feel the table and the people sitting there. And I'm saying this is a very skeptical, grounded witch, but you feel the energy of all the people there, and then everyone invites someone in, and then suddenly it does feel like there's more happening, there's more energy there. Very peculiar feeling. If you'd like more ideas for magic in the mundane around Samhain or any of the other holidays on the wheel of year, I do have 14-day self-paced online courses where every day you will receive a really cool email prompt, either with a ritual, a recipe, a meditation, or just some little activity attached that will really get you completely immersed in the seasonal energies. You can find them together with all the other links linked down below in the description box. I hope you enjoyed these practical magic tips, and I shall see you next week for a cozy little witchy fall vlog. Goodbye!
Hey Bax, this is so dark. Oh my god. Bax, I cannot figure out the settings on your camera. So ladies, how would you rate the Samhain 2024 retreat?
20 out of 10, bitches!
As you're filmed in silhouette.
Like, genuinely life-changing. Like, yeah, like 20
was.
out of 10. It's been amazing. Like, meeting people and connecting with people that you wouldn't normally connect with or meet with. It's like,
Yeah.
mind-blowingly awesome.
Finding sisterhood in places you never expected.
Exactly.
Like all over the globe, and making plans to come back together.
Yeah.
Beltane, Glastonbury, 2025.
Hashtag fucking be there.
Yeah.
Any words you wish to share about why anyone on the fence should join the Samhain retreat?
Because it's awesome.
You heard it from the legend herself, folks. Bex, this is what happens when you leave your equipment out. I had fun. I'm so glad I did this again. Thanks. Andy out.